Hi, and thank you for downloading our Builder's Hourly Wage Calculator. In this video, I'm going to quickly run down how to use the calculator. The first thing to note is the cells we want to be entering data in are highlighted in yellow. All other cells can be ignored. So getting right into it, our estimated cost or expected salary without any overtime. So this is what our base wage is that we're agreeing and putting into our employment contracts for the year. Next cell we want to be entering data into is our markup applied to that wage. So what we're investing in human capital by paying a wage, we want to see a return back on. And by setting a budgeted markup, it's going to help us with quoting down the track, and also how much the price that we're factoring in to our quotes to then deliver on a project. So if we use a markup of 40%, and I've got a little note here, a markup of 40% will achieve a gross profit of about 30%. There's also in grey, just a little lower down here, our expected gross profit if that's our applied markup. So if we are going for a markup of a gross profit of 25%, we'd apply a markup of 33% on our wage to achieve that 25% gross profit. Next cell we require some data in is the hours worked per week. So generally speaking, it's 36 hours. We're not talking about overtime hours. We're not talking about Saturdays. We're talking about weekday normal hours. Productivity rating. So this is time not on the tools. So in our blog, we use the example of an apprentice being at trade school once a week for the month. So in that simple example, at best, that apprentice would have a 75% productivity, being 3 weeks on the tools, 1 week off the tools. Our hourly rate that we're paying, this is straight from our payroll software, so it's $50 an hour, $45 an hour, whatever it might be, is entered into our cell D16. Next down the line is whether or not we have, if the team member that we're looking to calculate this hourly rate calculator on is an apprentice or not. If they're an apprentice, we simply want to put a 1 in that field, and that will change some of the calculations as far as benefits and insurances are concerned. Apprentices have different rates that are applied. So in this example, I'm going to leave that as 2, being they're fully qualified team member. Next block of fields are our allowances. Now you may have different allowances set up. I've tried to cover off on some common allowances that we see. The main thing to note here is whether they are a daily or weekly allowance, because it is calculated differently per hour. So if it's a daily site allowance, that might be $20 a day that they attend site. Phone allowance might be on the week. You might allow for $25 a week to cover their phone bill every month, and so on. Again, tool allowance, you might be paying them a tool allowance of $100 a week. This area here, if there's not enough fields here for you to calculate, I'm happy to update the spreadsheet for you. Again, if you don't have enough daily or weekly allowances in here, happy to update the spreadsheet for you. Regarding the name of the allowance, you can go and change that to whatever suits your needs, as long as you're aware that it's either daily or weekly in this calculator that you want to be on top of, and inserting whatever that allowance is into this correct field here. As I said, if you need that more weekly allowances in here, I'm happy to update that for you. If you're watching this video, just reach out to me and I will update this spreadsheet accordingly. We then get all this stuff is calculated automatically, so you can, but just to run you through it, we've got super, long service. As a domestic builder, we don't have income or severance pay. That's commercial builder, and I've got a separate worksheet for that, but I've left it in here nonetheless. Work cover. So work cover should be a percentage of your overall wages. It's normally going to travel between 2 and 3%. You got to go through your actual work cover policy to check what your one is. So in this example here, I'm going to apply 2%. Payroll tax in Victoria, so every state is different, but payroll tax in Victoria is only applies if your salaries or your wages are over 900k. So if you're not over your state payroll tax limit, you can simply add a 0% here so that it's not calculated. In this example, I've left the 1% there to factor in a little bit of payroll tax. The next line is our days off per hour, and that's based on a 36-hour week. Yep. So what you need to go and do is go through your calendar and whack in all your public holidays according to your state. Whether or not you have RDOs, I know that's definitely on the commercial builders calculator, but as a domestic builder might not have any RDOs. Personal leave, now whether they're taken a lot, not most of the time they are taken because people use them, so we factor that into the hourly rate. And then annual leave, again, whether it's been accrued or not, it's been factored into our hourly cost. And that also gives you, based on the data, how much it's costing you with non-work days per year on this base salary. Now it gets into now that we've entered all that data in, we now have at our fingertips what it is costing us per hour for this team member. So that's our raw cost. And what I mean by raw, it's not adjusted for the productivity. Going back up to this cell here, someone running at 75% productivity, well, what are they actually costing us? Because we're paying them for more downtime than the allocated days off. So with that productivity adjustment, they're actually costing us $88.22 per hour in this example. And what the column G is our overtime. So at this stage, I've got overtime at ×2. So you're getting your normal hours cost versus your overtime hour cost. And then the line in blue here should be what we're including in our quotes. So what we should be quoting as our hourly cost or our hourly rate to achieve our gross profit. So if we increase our markup to 40% to try and achieve a 30% gross profit, it'll change this figure here to say, right, when we're doing a takeoff and applying a cost associated to our team members, we're making sure we're not applying this $50 an hour. We should be looking at $123 an hour as far as invoicing out. So if we're not doing that, how much are we leaving on the table? How much are we leaking out? And it might not always be achievable, but it's something that you should be working towards. So I hope you get some good use out of this, and it's a bit of an eye-opener for your business. Happy to discuss it more, happy to tweak this spreadsheet to your needs. If you are a commercial builder watching this or not a builder, again, happy to have a chat with you to help you get the right data on your business. Thanks for watching.